I'm here with Luis Vazquez. Thank you so much for taking the time, my friend. It's a pleasure to meet you virtually this way.
My pleasure, Yuri. It's a pleasure to be here with you. And I used to do some of your interviews with some other artists that I know for a long time. And really, really amazing. So it's my pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you so much. Well, first, maybe we can talk about your upbringing a little bit, how you started in dancing, and maybe talk about your dance journey a little bit, because I'm very curious, the origins of your story.
Well, I moved from Mexico to America when I was 17 in 1989. And I started dancing when I was 20 years old, exactly. And everything started because of my brother Francisco. My brother Francisco met a girl, and this girl told me, "Oh, let's go down to this club. They play salsa, cumbia, merengue." And he was like, "Okay, tropical music." He went and he got hooked with the scene of the atmosphere of this place. And so after a week or two, he came and told me, "You know what? You need to come and see this. This is amazing. The atmosphere is really nice. They play a lot of different type of music because before it was all kind of music. It was salsa, cumbia, merengue, um, on the same dance floor. It was amazing. So I told him, no, I was more into house music, break dancing, because I would just dance a little bit, break dancing, house music. And I said, no, that's for old people. That was for older people. And he told me, no, come in, you check it out. So he brought me to uh, JC Pandango. JC Pandango was one of the best clubs at that time in Orange County. And, and there was competitions there. At that time, there was a brand new car, first place. My brother won years after he won the first place there. I won one competition there, but then there was no more cars. There was only money there. And so I saw some of the best dancers at that time. Some of those dancers, they don't exist anymore. Some of them, they died. Some of them, they retired because we were really young. They were already a little bit older. And, and I think one of them, Marlon Castillo, is still, I think he lives now in Holland. And he's the one. When I went that night, there was a competition, and it was the final, and I saw that, and he won the competition, and I just got hooked. I was like, it's amazing. Everybody was dressed very nice, and everybody was really friendly. And I saw for the first time a club mix of different nationalities because living in the United States, I was with the Latinos always, the blacks with the blacks, Americans with Americans, Asians with Asians. And this is the first time that I saw all different nationalities together, and I loved it. I was like, wow, this is nice. And I got hooked from that moment. I started going there because, in America, especially in California, you have to be 21 to go to a club.
Right.
And I wasn't 21. But this club, you were allowed to go inside with an adult. And my brother Francisco is 2 years older than me.
Okay.
So I went with him. They give you a bracelet, and you couldn't drink. And I was there partying and everything with him. And I got cooked. And from that moment, I met some people. I started dancing, and they were trying to teach me. There was no instructors at all at that moment in LA. It means nobody was teaching. But those people that were trying to teach me on the dance were like, don't worry, just go like this, like that. And that's the journey. From that moment, I got hooked. I started dancing a lot. And a couple of years later, I won a competition. People start asking me, do you teach? Do you dance very nice? I said, no, I'm not a dance instructor. I don't know how to teach. I don't know. I never been taking lessons. And from there, I got one person that knew me asked me, well, like, would you like to teach me some of your steps? And I give you $100 for 1 hour. And I was like, $100. At that time, it was $4.25 an hour working anywhere. That was the salary, you know.
Wow.
And I was working in downtown Los Angeles selling Italian clothing in the alley, this place you sell, wholesale stuff and everything. And and he went to the house. I said, "Well, I don't know how to teach. Ah, just try to teach me. My wife loves this move that you do with her, but I want to surprise her because she's in Miami and she's coming next week, and I want to know those moves." And I was trying to teach him. He goes, "I love it. You're really good explaining." I was like, "Well, shit," because I didn't. There was no names for the steps or anything. There was no counts. Remember that time there was no counts at all. So he told me, "You know what? I really like the classes. Me and my wife, we want to take classes at least 2 or 3 times a week, and I give you $100 for 1 hour if you teach us."
Wow.
I was like, "Man, with this money, I make, in one day I make what I make in a month." So I did. I started teaching him, and he was like, "I have another two couples of our friends that would love to take the classes. We can give you $25 each one for 1 hour, and you're gonna have 6 people." And then from there, it became 12 people in my small living room with my ex-wife, Jovi, that is one of the pioneers of the LA style, you know? Because remember, when we start this, there's only some people that we make this style recognized in the world. That is Rogelio Moreno, Alex da Silva, uh, Josie Neglia, uh, my brother Francisco, me, Laura Canelia, William Ochoa, and that's it. It means you're talking about from this time, the first people that we revolutionized it. At this moment, it didn't exist. A lot of the artists, and now you know. And then they told me, "You know what? I want to bring more people, but there's no space in your living room. Why you don't rent a dance studio?" And I said, "Dance studio? You?" I was completely like behind all this. And he told me, "You know what? There's a dance studio. When we take the highway, we exit, there's a dance studio. Why you don't go and check it out?" Well, this studio, he brought me to this studio, and I asked the owner of this studio how much I can rent the place for 1 hour. And he told me $10 for 1 hour. You can rent the whole freaking studio. I was like, wow, $10 I'm making with these people almost $200 in 1 hour, and I spend $10. This is great. From there, it started coming 20 people, 30 people. The freaking place became one of the most recognized dance studios at that time in the world. It was called the Dance Factory.
Mm.
This is before Josineglia moved to LA. This is before Rogelio started teaching. So I'm one of the first instructors to start teaching LA style. Not even my brother Francisco. I start, and then after that, he saw that I was making money, and a lot of people that were coming to my classes, and I created the first dance company that it was called Salsa Brava. From there, a lot of the uh, good dancers from Los Angeles I start having auditions, and because my ex-wife is was a jazz dancer, we start having auditions, and we start getting girls who knew a little bit more about the technique and everything. So we create Salsa Brava, and that's the group that changed everything. From there, Fernando Sosa got inspired by our dance group. And later, my brother Johnny came into this, but then later, Johnny, he changed the salsa world too with his own style. And then from there, Fernando Sosa got inspired. They would just do travel all the way to Los Angeles. Fernando Sosa created Tropical Jam with one of my dancers, is Sandy Ramos from Salsa Brava. He went all the way to Los Angeles, and Alira Lenos, but she was dancing with me before, and then she was dancing with Rogelio Moreno, Salsa Huaycache. And those two girls, they moved from Los Angeles without knowing what was going to happen in Italy because they got in love with Rafael and Fernando Sosa, and they create Tropical Jam. That right now is one of the biggest dance teams in the world.
Yeah.
And from that company that we created, because we started doing Hollywood stuff and the choreographies, we were the first one cutting music. We were the first one having a logo on shirts ever in history in salsa. So people they were asking, how do you, like when we went to New York, they started asking like, how do you connect the music? How do you put two music together? How do you put sounds? And we were coming from Hollywood, the movies, so
Hmm.
we knew how to do all that. And that's the way I started. And after that, the rest is history. I just got hooked. It became my life. I quit my job, and it became my everything in a way. You could say.
Thank you for that. That's very
Very
no.
because if I didn't,
This is great. This is a fascinating piece of salsa history. So I'm so happy that you shared that. So just to make sure I got it right, the name of the group you said was Salsa Bravo.
salsa brava, salsa,
Yeah.
salsa brava, brava. It means it's like spicy,
Yes.
you know.
I-
Está picante. Brava, bravo. It comes from bravo too,
mhm.
and brava too. It can be uh, to something that is spicy. Because a girl, oh, that girl is brava, and it's spicy,
Yes.
So we create that name and we became recognized. And so now I pass the name to somebody else from Mexico, and he's still using in his dance studio that name. After we dissolved the company, eh, somebody said, sell the name. And I said, no, just going to give it away. And somebody asked me for the name, and I just gave that name to somebody else, and he took over the name.
Yes.
So,
So when you were with this group, eh, and when you start practicing and doing all these amazing things, did you know at the time that you were creating a new style? Did you realize it? Was it intentional or was it sort of kind of what happened?
we were just dancing. We were really young. We were everything. It's almost like if you go back in history with hip hop, with rapping, anything, skateboarding. I was hearing about the story about skateboarding, how it started everything. And when you realize it, no, we were never thinking about making money from this. We were never thinking about creating something new. We were just dancing. It was the passion of, and we started at the right moment at the right place.
Mm-hmm.
Because at that moment, with so many Latinos in America, uh, it was like the revolution of a lot of the artists like Jennifer Lopez, a lot of uh, the filmmakers, it was coming this Latino thing because it was always more American on everything. But the Latino became more popular with food you know, and it was just the right moment, and we just did it with love and passion, never thinking because when we start traveling, we were paying for our events to the first World Salsa Congress that was Puerto Rico Salsa Congress. It's the one who changed the whole history and all the events that you see in every place that you go and dance. If there's a festival, before it was called Congress, they changed to event and festival. But the first event ever, ever, ever that opened the door for us to be recognized in many of the artists in the world. It was Puerto Rico Salsa Congress in 1997.
Mm-hmm.
That's when we met for the first time. That there was some people dancing in New York. We didn't know that there was people dancing in New York or in Italy, or a few people in Japan, or a few people in other places in the United States. So when we went there, and this is so you can learn a little bit about history because right now I start teaching some history classes and some dance events because all the events right now is about learning to dance, patterns, movement, musicality. But there's not many dance events who talk about salsa history. And a lot of the instructors they lack of that. They don't know about history. And when the students they ask them, they create their own thing to not look back, or they just say, "Oh, I don't know." So this is to help the teachers to learn because some of them they learn from some great instructors, but they don't know that those instructors they got inspired by us. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
a lot of people they don't know that I got inspired by Marlon Castillo. A lot of people think that I got inspired by my brother Francisco because he's the one who was the first one, and not because we started this at the same time. The first person that I saw it was Marlon Castillo. I got inspired by him. And with the years, he got inspired by us, but he didn't knew that I got inspired by him. So he brought me to Holland. And when I saw him at the airport, he was like, Luis, he hugged me. Oh, I admire you so much. It's so nice to have you here. And I start crying. I go like, brother, you inspire me, but he never knew. And I said, you inspired me to that. What? I've been following your videos. I was like, no, you. I went my first time ever to that club and I saw you winning the competition. I saw the way you were singing and we start crying and hug. You see? So a lot of the people sometimes they don't know those things. They just see Fernando Sosa, but they don't know what happened with Fernando Sosa. It means that if we didn't exist in the such community, many of them they were not gonna exist. And those people they are already inspiring millions and millions of people. How everything is past.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's why it's so beautiful to inspire people. But when you inspire somebody, it's always without the instead of getting money or anything in return. Just to give because what you get back later, there's no words. You know what I mean? It's not about money. I can be broke or anything, but just whenever I travel and people they come, oh Luis, you don't even know. You inspired my teacher. He told me, or the guys they come and people that I don't know. Luis, I've been on for almost 30 years. You were my first instructor in Russia. You know? Because we were the first ones to travel outside the world. We were the Vazquez brothers, the first ones. Then we went to Japan, to France, from there to London. If we talk to Super Mario, he got inspired by me. Leon Rose. I mean, I can keep mentioning names that they're the big in this world. Like in New York, a lot of people they got inspired by editors, no? That we didn't know. So when we went to New York and they saw us, it became like an opening eyes for them and for us. It's like, but they knew about towns. We didn't know. When we were teaching front together, back together, side together, back, back. There was no counts. And then my ex-wife, she started counting like in jazz. One and two, three and four. One and two, three and four. And then somebody else came with one, two, three, four, five, six. That was the classic from LA. One, two, three, four, five, six, because we were counting the steps that we were stepping. Now, with the music, when we went to New York, the first person who taught me about counts was Nelson Flores from Descarga Latina. Eddie Torres, nobody knew Eddie Torres. They knew the dancers from Eddie Torres. But nobody knew who was Eddie Torres. It was like a we heard about him. Who's this? But the first people that we met, it was this group from New York, and they brought us because they saw us in Puerto Rico. They got so impressed, they brought us to New York. And when we went, the people from LA to New York in their house, they got open their eyes. They say from that moment, New York became like, oh, we have a challenge, East Coast, West Coast. And it became like a big thing. There was even times when people that were getting almost into fights because of that.
Mm.
You know, it's so funny. And we were all friends, but the other people they didn't know. Oh, one, two. And if you talk to the old school dancers, I'm not talking about Frankie Martinez. He's an old school dancer, but he was the new generations, you know, from that. I'm talking about dancers that were dancing before Frankie Martinez, before, you know, Juan Matos, all those there. They were the new ones. But the old ones, they can tell you stories about us and everything, how everything became such an amazing relationship between East Coast and West Coast. And from that moment, the world quickly changed because now it starts LA, New York. There was already a competition in a way. We were really good with tricks. They were good with counts. So Nelson first told me, "Do you know that you dance on every number?" I was like, "You count when you dance?" He was like, "No, no, no, Luis, let me explain. It's because some people they say that you dance on one, but you're not dancing on one. You're stepping on three, you're stepping sometimes on five." And I was like, "But I don't count when I dance. I just feel the music, you know." I'm like, "What? That's good." But the music goes like this: one, two, three, four. That's a bar of four, and we usually we put two bars of four, and we make the dancers create one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. It can be in between and one and two and three and four. And my head went like, what? And he explained to me, we spent like 2 hours in the kitchen. All our dancers, they were sleeping on the floor, like 14 or 16 dancers in his small house, sleeping on the floor. And me and him, we were in the kitchen talking about music. And it's the first time that my head went like, ah. because they were coming already from an instructor, Eddie Torres, who had experience about music. And LA, there was nobody. So when I started, I didn't know how to teach. Do you understand? So I went back to Los Angeles, and then I started counting one, two, three, five, six, seven, and all the students. And I say sorry, but it makes sense. If we do the four, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, then it's okay. And my brother Francisco was Eddie Torres, who taught him and Johnny about the sounds, Eddie Torres. But for me, the first person was Nelson Flores from Descarga Latina from New York. And from that moment, I understood better about the music. That's when we start doing a lot of the choreographies more on one all the time. Because for us, it felt more natural. For them, they were coming from an academy. Remember, at that time, there was almost nobody dancing on two.
Hmm.
Now it's the opposite. It's still now, until now, people they somehow they need to start with Cuban style or LA style, and then they change on two. Most of the people they finish dancing on two later,
Hmm.
and it makes sense. That's why you need both. At the moment that there was nothing on one, trust me, it was not gonna be as interested because most of the people they don't get interested right away on two. It's art. It's like if you go to a concert and the concert, almost any music, and you grab with the music on the concert. You cannot be offbeat. So automatically your body reacts to the one, three, five, seven. It doesn't matter what you said, but those things in between. So maybe there's a few people in the world. So most of the people when they were seeing the New Year, it doesn't make sense. They're empty. And we were like, so it became more popular to dance on one because nobody understood at that moment, only the people who were taking classes in schools in New York.
Hmm.
Because in New York, when I went to New York to dance to the class, everybody was dancing on one, on three, on five, on seven. There was from 1,000 people in the club, maybe two were dancing in the whole club, only two, because they were coming from the dance schools.
Hmm.
Everybody else, the Latino who were dancing on everything. So for us, it was like, ah, no, New York is not so cool. It's better on one because everybody, you know. And then with the time, we were on two. Because it's not like that. Even now, I dance on two. I learned to dance on two because it's important to dance a little bit of everything. And well, that's the way. But no, we never thought that we were gonna change this. We never did it for money. We never did it for attention. It was for pure pleasure and love. It's hard to explain how magical it was to go to dance in a place and somebody was there was you notice when there was a new move and everybody's like, oh wow, look at that guy doing a new move. And he was trying to teach us everybody. And then I was creating a move and then we were creating a name. A lot of the steps we created names, a lot of the steps they were already from ballroom, from other kind of dances and we incorporate and we start creating our own names to the steps. A lot of the steps they're recognized already in the world. So,
So, correct me if I'm wrong. So, my understanding of New York style in particular, they develop a curriculum. So they have
yeah,
they standardized number of things that's easily digestible for other dancers. So if I'm going to go and take a class in mini New York studios that apply the Eddie Torres's curriculum, it would be very similar or same information. When I come and take LA style, at least my experiences with that, it's kind of scattered. Like I don't know what to expect. So with that, were you able to create some sort of curriculum that is no?
we never did. I think that was one of the mistakes that nobody ever did to try to create something that was going to be easier for the people to understand and follow. No, there's some of the steps that almost everybody was talking about. Some of the foundations that you need. It is basic, back and front, okay, crossbody lead, open break, 360, copa. The copa comes from New York. We didn't use it in LA until we saw the people from New York
Mhm.
doing copa. Like Yamule, uh,
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
sure
yeah,
of
yeah,
the
yeah,
group,
yeah.
Osmar and all that. They got inspired by LA to do the tricks. They were the first ones in New York trying to do more tricks
Mm,
than anybody else. In New York, they didn't use tricks before.
mm,
It was more dancing. LA was more about tricks.
Okay.
And Yamulet told me, ooh, when we start doing tricks, everybody was criticizing us in New York because, that's for the LA people. We don't do those kind of things and blah, blah, blah. But he liked it. He did it. Of course, dancing on too. And then some other people inspired. Now everybody's doing it for shows. But LA, we were doing it in the dance floor everywhere. We were just crazy. Um, so, yeah, I think that's one of the mistakes. Not mistakes. You cannot call it mistake. That's one of the things that nobody thought about it, about creating a curriculum with some of the information, about steps. But it became just what it is at this moment. And people in New York, it became better and better with the information, with all that. In LA, what happened at the moment that I moved from LA and my brother Johnny, LA went down a lot. The people that were calling me. And a lot of people that moved from New York, they're moving to LA. And now these people are taking over, because there's nobody else representing. Rogelio Moreno stopped for a while, his uh, dance company, some other ones too. Alex da Silva got in prison, uh, things like that. And it just became like there was no more inspiration. We've been feeling always with the responsibility to inspire all the time.
Mm.
You know what I mean? From there, uh, there was some other people later, Karen and from Brazil, I forgot
Rafael?
her name. Rafael and
Karin?
Karen, no?
Yeah.
Karen. And the ones from Argentina and the couple too, they have the same name almost. I forgot. Anyways, from there, Adriana Anita, other ones, they start with the LA style. And they keep the LA style for a while. Fernando Sosa until now. Even he does on two, he's doing a mix now. But he still represents on one a lot of the shows. I just saw one of the shows. He's doing on one, he's still. But now he changed more to Sosa style.
Yes.
We never like to call it like that. When we start dancing, and the style start becoming recognized, they call it first Hollywood style. Because when we were coming to Europe, they were saying the dancers from Hollywood, you know? And then we say, we're not from Hollywood, LA. But then some people, they start calling Vazquez style, and we didn't like it. My brother Francisco, Johnny would say, no, this is not Vazquez style. Because there's Rogelio, there's Alex da Silva, Jose Negra, my ex-wife. There's so many other dancers.
Mm.
You cannot call it Vazquez.
Mm-hmm.
And people, they go like, well, where did you start all this? In LA style. And that's the way, because before it was not called New York style either. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
It was never called New York style, not even editorial mentioning. People, they start calling like a lot of the dancers that were coming from New York.
Mm-hmm.
So they call it New York. Okay, makes sense. Puerto Rico, LA, you know, Colombia. Okay. And that's the way. So I don't fear much. It sounds egoistic. I don't want to start a controversy about this.
Yeah.
It sounds egoistic to call something your own thing when it's not really your own thing.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yes. Because a lot of people contribute to it.
Yes, it's like I like more when the people go to a place and it's not real Mexican food and they call it Tex-Mex and it's like okay, it makes sense. It's a mix of Texas food or American food with Mexican. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you go and you say Mexican food, but it's not. When somebody creates a style, yeah, you can put your own thing, but remember, you get inspired, and a lot of your stuff that you do is from other dancers, so you cannot give yourself the whole credit. You understand or not?
Yeah.
So it's like to call Ramirez style or Jimenez style, Johnson style. It wasn't gonna work. It becomes too egoistic. So it's better to call it from the place that you are or that you develop this dance or the country or whatever you want to call it. But it's my own opinion. I will never call something basket style. Never.
Yeah.
And I don't like when people say it's LA style because there's other dancers They deserve credit for this.
So you already mentioned few things during our talk regarding the criteria, not criteria, the some of the things that will go into LA style. But if you had to explain to someone who never heard of seen LA style of dancing, how would you kind of summarize what's the difference between other styles?
Well, now the style changed a lot. Now it's exactly like how can you call New York style if somebody's from Puerto Rico and dancing too?
Mm-hmm.
You told him a perfect example, Felipe Polanco. You're gonna insult him if you say, "Oh, New York style." He's gonna tell you, "No, no, 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 no. This is Puerto Rico style." You understand or not?
Mm-hmm.
Another one is Tito and Tamara. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Now everybody call it New York style because it's on too, but the style is more the way you move, the way you express. A lot of people, I don't like it. Even my brother Johnny has been explaining some videos when they say if you dance on one, that's LA style. No, on one, you must can dance on one. Colombia can dance on one. I mean, on one is on the first beat of the music, not a style. That's just a beat.
Mm-hmm.
Style is the way we move from the steps we do. You know what
Yes,
I mean?
yes.
LA style we put recognize for the tricks, the flips. That was LA style. Even on the shows, when you put a choreography, you would put in like a theater thing. It was not just to go on the stage and dance. It was something to use the hat, to use the hat for a reason. If you use the cigarette, that was the LA style. To dress nice, we were the first one ever who put a style of dress up. Because in New York, when we went, there was no dress up. Nobody knew when they were coming to LA. Everybody was like, "Wow, everybody dressed up so nice." And a lot of people started using hats, they started using, you know, it was part of the fashion. Like some other people, they put in fashion later, tight clothes, or the white shoes like Frankie Martinez. They wearing for the first time the jazz shoes white. Then everybody was wearing it. Well, we were the same when we came into this dance world. Everybody was impressed the way the people in LA was used to dress up. Even it was baggy pants, whatever, with a big jacket, like tutu style that is more like Chicano, thing, or what they call Pachuco. And a lot of the stuff Francisco still wear, my brother. Um, so when you dance LA, it's not just the way you move, it's the way you dress, the way you express yourself, you know what I mean? The way you choreograph, that's what it is. Because if I see people from New York, I think what makes the difference is the style of each person. You cannot compare Franklin Diaz with Fernando Sosa or Franklin Diaz with Adolfo. They have nothing to do with each other the way they dance. They're doing New York style. Yeah, but what is the style? If you really think dancing on two, so it means that if you dance on one, it's LA style. You understand or not?
Yes, yes, yes.
I think it became more like that. That if you dance on one, it's LA style. If you dance in line dance, is and you dance on one, that's LA style. That's what most of the people think, no? If you dance on two, that's New York style. Some people they don't even want to call it like that. Now they say mambo, you know?
Yeah.
When mambo in the 40s and 50s, especially before, it was completely different way of dancing and different way of interpreting the music. Mambo,
Mm-hmm.
mambo, mom. It was completely different. There was not, you couldn't dance the way we dance right
Yeah.
now. Then it changed. So salsa is easier for the people because it was too much with the all the different styles of guaracha, guaguancó, son montuno, guajira. I mean, son danzón. It means if we keep going, so salsa was easy to understand. It became easy for everybody. That's why a lot of people get confused. So style is a style of dress, of act, and it changed. LA style was before full really marked the step. One. Now we don't dance like that, even if you dance LA. Now my brother Johnny dancing now. But we still do it in some shows and everything to keep that kind of tradition. But socially we don't dance anymore the way we used to dance. The people from New York, they don't dance the same that they were used to dance. So I don't know what to say about this style because now it's been developing so much and nobody else is been keeping doing something new, honestly. There's not many people doing much anymore with the LA style. Now it's more on two and Cuban. Cuban style is for me is gonna be always one of the best ones when it comes to interpreting music and everything. It's completely different. And most of the dancers from two, they are like even Frankie and Diaz, his favorite music is Cuban.
Hmm.
And he even learned, rumba. Some of the best dancers in the world that I know, they need to go to Cuban movements and everything to really be to another level and interpret the music in a completely different way. So but I think we need each other. Each dance need each other. At the moment that one die or the other one is gonna really affect everybody. You understand?
Oh yeah.
We need each other to grow. If you see Super Mario, his classes in the UK, he still train. The classes are full on one, and then all those people when they learn and everything, they move to learn on two. So we have the same students rotating, learning all this. You understand?
Hmm.
And that's super important for the instructor to tell and teach the people. The dancing is dancing, even as each other says, I don't care if you dance on one or anything. Just pass the love for dancing. But there's some instructors that are so naive and so um, blind that they say, no, only this. And if you dance something else, they criticize you or they criticize or they don't know, they don't understand. And the Cuban, they say the same thing about New York and LA. I don't know shit. Cuban is, everything that you do thanks to the Cubans. Otherwise, you were not gonna exist. You know what I mean? And at the end, I just tell them in my classes, wherever I go, all my students, I go like, I'm teaching you on one, but later I want you to learn Cuban and I want you to learn on two. But when you learn to dance the other style and you prefer to dance Cuban or you prefer to dance New York or on two, don't forget and don't become an ass that when somebody come and ask you, say, oh no, I just dance on two. Because that's bullshit. You dance on one and you were dancing on one. Because then you became like some of those instructors in the world that they are so freaking, I hate, I'm not even going to say names. But there is people, they come and they don't dance with them if they dance on one. And what is the word dance? It means it's free expression, having fun, just enjoy yourself. And people are forgetting about that, and that's why we're losing lots of dancers in the dance community, in salsa. And so many are going to the bachata world. If they discover something is easier, more relaxed, there's not so much pressure. There's a lot of young people, a lot of young girls. And in the salsa, you go and sometimes it's really dry the energy. Because everybody wants to become better with technique, but they're forgetting about having fun and they're forgetting about freaking dance with the beginners. To inspire the new generation, a lot of people are leaving because they come and nobody dance with them because they're beginner or because she's a little bit chubby, because she's a little bit older. And we forget about those things. At the moment that we forget about those things, we're screwed. Then don't complain later like, oh, there's no many salsa dancers. There we go. So that's why we need each other on one, on two, Cuban, in bachata and everything, because a lot of those people are gonna get tired of bachata. They're gonna go back to salsa. It's part of life. Sorry, I gotta.
I love it. I love it, man. I appreciate this input from you. Um, there's definitely I resonate because I've seen some people that dance only a particular way and they just don't want to do the other way. My friend, I definitely think we'll need to do part two because there's a lot of questions and
We
you
do
have
part two, part three,
yeah,
part
yeah,
four.
yeah. You have amazing historical perspective, which I love. I think this is going to be great for world to know in general. But anything else in closing, that we discussed today?
No, I mean at the end you ask the questions and everything. When it comes to salsa history, there's so much to learn. Like I told you, lately I start asking a lot of the promoters to put some salsa history classes. In September, in the middle of September, we're gonna be in Madrid, Spain, because you know Paddy Fusion
Yes,
antes
yes,
se
yes. I
llamaba
know
Paddy
about the
Fusion.
event. Yes, the Legends of Old
Yeah,
School.
yes, because he's trying to bring this because he was saying there's a lot of people that they don't know much, and I want to do completely different events
Yes.
that everybody else does, you know. And I said that's really cool. And I think that we're gonna have a salsa history class. My brother Francisco, Johnny, and I.
Oh wow.
So that's gonna be really cool for a lot of the people, not just the students, but for the instructors, because a lot of the instructors they still don't know. I mean, we can spend days. I've been having with some dancers conversations about this. They go like, you need to write a freaking book about because if we go back in history, I've been talking to somebody that is doing something very special. I hope in the future, he's collecting lots of information. He's been talking to some people from New York to me to do something special and I hope that person do something really magical with this information. But there's so much about the dance. Well, what happened before and what is happening right now.
100%. 100%. Do are you able to tell who the person is who was collecting the information?
No, I could
Okay.
not say
Okay. No
everything.
problem. No problem. No problem. We keep it. We keep it. Confidential, right?
Yeah,
That's fine. Luis, thank you so much for taking the time, man. This has been an amazing conversation. I love learning about stuff like that because I think, to your point, it helps people to understand a proper historical perspective. And I think it's critical.
mm,
I think it's so important to know where the art comes from, how art evolved, and who were the key pioneers of the art and what to expect, you know. So I think you willing to share in really providing this information is amazing, man. I can't thank you enough.
yeah, no, thank you. You know, this is part of our history in a way. We're gonna be gone one day, you know, in a way, because it is true. One day we're gonna disappear, I mean, or die, or disappear from the dance world for any reason. You never know, because for me, family comes first than anything else, you know. But one of the things that I always tell the people is like, if you really want to help our dance community, share the love, share the passion. Don't fight for stupid things about one or two or bachata or kizomba and just support everything in a way and do it with a heart and you're gonna see great results for everybody. Otherwise, like anything else, we just need somebody to do stupid things and everything and then it damage the everything else. Like Donald Trump, you know. So,
I agree. I agree with you. Thank you so much for this. I hope we'll do it again. It's a pleasure. Thank you for your time, perspective, and your wisdom. And I hope we talk again soon, sir.
all right, just let me know and we plan and everything, okay? Take care and have a wonderful
You
day.
too, Liz. Thank you.